A new study presents an alarming picture of the long-term effects of heavy alcohol consumption on the human brain. The findings, drawn from the brain autopsies of nearly 1,800 individuals, show a disturbing association between heavy drinking and the presence of brain lesions known as hyaline arteriolosclerosis, damage to small blood vessels that restricts blood flow and harms brain tissue over time. These lesions, strongly tied to cognitive decline, were significantly more common among individuals who consumed 8 or more alcoholic drinks per week. The data reveal a grim biological footprint left by alcohol. Heavy drinkers had more than double the odds of developing vascular brain lesions compared to those who never drank. But even moderate and former heavy drinkers weren't spared, showing 60% and 89% higher odds, respectively. These lesions are not merely microscopic curiosities. They are physical damage in the brain's architecture, and they come with real-world consequences for memory, thinking, and long-term cognitive function. It gets worse. The same groups, heavy and former heavy drinkers, were also significantly more likely to exhibit tau tangles in their brain tissue, a pathological hallmark of Alzheimer's disease. This suggests that the harm of alcohol may extend far beyond vascular damage, potentially accelerating or exacerbating the neurodegenerative processes that lead to dementia. The presence of tau tangles was up to 41% more likely in heavy drinkers, an unsettling association that pushes the conversation about alcohol and aging into much darker territory. The tragedy is compounded by the fact that the damage persists even after people stop drinking heavily. Former drinkers had reduced brain mass and showed worse performance on cognitive assessments, indicating that some of the neurological harm may be irreversible. The fact that cognitive decline was most clearly observed in former heavy drinkers implies that the brain may not fully recover once injury has occurred, even after abstinence. The insult to the brain appears to outlast the behavior that caused it. Perhaps the most jarring finding of the study is the reduction in life expectancy. On average, heavy drinkers died 13 years earlier than non-drinkers. That's not a small margin. It's a full decade lost, a profound cost that underscores the life-shortening nature of sustained alcohol misuse. And while the study stopped short of proving causation, the strength of the associations across a large and diverse sample lends serious weight to the conclusions. This is not a call to panic over a glass of wine, but it is a stark warning against the normalization of heavy drinking, especially in older adults. The damage doesn't necessarily manifest immediately. Instead, it accumulates silently, over years or decades, in the form of narrowing blood vessels, dying brain cells, and creeping memory loss. It appears in the autopsy results of those who drank in social excess, or who once relied on alcohol as a daily crutch and then walked away, only to find that the damage had already been done. A disturbing aspect of the findings is the subtlety with which alcohol-related brain damage can develop. Lesions and tau tangles don't announce themselves with obvious symptoms until it's too late. And because moderate drinkers were not immune to increased lesion risk, the line between safe and risky consumption may be far thinner than assumed. The cultural narrative around alcohol often emphasizes moderation, but this study suggests that even so-called moderate levels may quietly erode cognitive resilience over time. Even though the study has limitations, it lacked longitudinal data on drinking habits and cognitive decline. It paints a clear and sobering picture. Alcohol is not a neutral substance. It is a neurotoxin, and while society may romanticize its role in relaxation, celebration, or social connection, the biological cost is becoming impossible to ignore. The damage done to the brain is not just a possibility, it is a predictable outcome for those who drink heavily and regularly. And the consequences extend not just to memory and thinking, but to the very length of a person's life. Ultimately, this study is a call to reassess our collective tolerance for heavy drinking. It demands more than individual caution. It calls for public health action, more education, and a reevaluation of how alcohol use is treated in medical, social, and policy contexts. The evidence is stacking up, and it's saying something chilling. The brain remembers what the drinker forgets.